We are going to begin in 1 second. Let's both take a deep breath and we're going to get going.
You know that this is like really coming out of the box for me.
And I really know this, and I also want you to know that I am so appreciative of you doing this for me, because I know this. But I just did a post on, TikTok talking about body ability, the practice of what you cannot do. And that applies to not just movement, but everything in life, including public speaking, including putting yourself out there on a podcast, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Big hugs. Think of what you do every day with me has led you up to this moment of courage, right? This moment of sharing. So let me get our questions.
Okay.
So here's the thing also. Today, I really want to make our interview more of an interview thing. I'm not really going to add too much. I'm going to try not to add me into it. I'm going to kind of I really am just interested in you and your story. And I would say that there's one more question that I'm hoping to get in. And that is, if someone were to just start new with me, how would you suggest for them to begin?
Okay.
So I think I'm going to try to throw that in somewhere. Because
Is my volume good enough?
Oh, it sounds so great. Can you hear me?
I can. And also, if you have to talk a little bit, you can, because it might be hard. It might be hard for me to talk a lot.
Right. And remember, we want to do 30 minutes. So you're my perfect practice, right? So just touch into your heart and you're going to talk about something you know a lot about, know. So that's the thing. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, woo! Okay, here we go, my friend.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to start this. Okay, I got it. This is how I am in my yoga download videos too, because it's so much pressure to begin,
Yeah.
But once I begin, it starts going. So, all right, we are back with podcast 3 of the AgeDEFY Way podcast. And today I have Amy, and I am so excited for you to get to know Amy. So with that said, I am going to use this podcast episode as a true interview. I have a list of questions I'm going to ask Amy that I've already sent to her, and she is ready to answer my questions, and I am ready for an awesome podcast with Amy. So before I go on anymore, I would like to say hi, Amy.
Hi, Donnell.
Where are you coming from, Amy? Where do you live?
I live in Massachusetts.
I love that. I just love how our Zoom studio brings people together from all over, truly the globe, all over the world. We have people from, of course, the United States, but also in so many other countries. And I love that. Don't you?
Yeah, I love the community that we have and the opportunity to meet different people over Zoom that you'll probably never meet in person, but I've learned a lot from a lot of different people.
I love that. Okay, so that brings me to my first question for today.
Okay.
When did you sign up for the AgeDEFY program, and what made you sign up for AgeDEFY?
So about 2 years ago, when the world started to change a little bit, I stopped going to my gym that was outside of my home, and I created a gym inside of my home. And I was still dedicated to my yoga practice and my meditation practices, but I was also just doing random videos on YouTube or any other exercise platforms that I could find. And my sister, who lives in Denver, who had been working with you in person, suggested, why don't you do the challenge that Donnell has posted on Instagram? So I committed to the challenge a year and a half ago, which was 10 days. And I ended up winning a free membership for 1 month. And I became truly addicted.
Mm-hmm. And that was, what, are we almost to 2 years? This summer will be 2 years?
Yeah, September will be 2 years.
Oh my goodness, how awesome is that? So the contest she's talking about is an Instagram contest that I ran, like a 10-day body ability challenge contest. And I would do a new challenge, right, for you guys to do every day. And then if you posted about it, you were entered to win a free month at the studio. And she was the winner. It was awesome. And we've seen each other so much since then. I Love it. All right. So the next question is, and I have to ask this question because it is Age Defy is not just about age, but it's about us conquering our age in a way, right? Living better than we could even imagine at our age. So can I ask you how old you are?
So I am 48 years old, but I feel as if I'm 28 years old.
That makes me so happy. I just turned 48 too, so we are together. I love
We
it.
are.
So, as a 48-year-old, how many Age Defy workouts do you do in a week?
So I do every live class that you host. So I am pretty much 8 classes a week, sometimes 7, but mostly 8 classes a week.
Oh my gosh, tears. Can you imagine? We started less than 2 years ago, and now you're doing 8, all of my classes, and I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So, let me ask you, do you do any online workouts, or are you predominantly just the live workouts?
So when you are on vacation, I'm very committed to the 1 month of being online. But there are times when I go back to some of the online classes because I love your lymphatic health classes, and they've helped me through different things. So I often will go back to lymphatic health classes, but I really do stick to the 8 live classes a week. And then I also still do some yoga classes at home as well too.
Great. And I didn't mean to ask this question, but I didn't know you were still doing some yoga. Has your yoga practice changed with having some of the Age Defy mobility and body knowledge added to it, or is it kind of the same?
No, it's 100% different.
And
There are some things that I do much differently now because I've learned the proper body mechanics in Age Defy, and the flexibility and the mobility and different parts of my body that move as if they've never moved before, which I appreciate very much.
I really love that because, yoga is me. I mean, even though I'm not a yoga teacher, yoga is part of my formula. I was so deeply ingrained in the yoga practice for so many years that, I mean, I didn't mean to get in this conversation, but I also didn't know you were still doing yoga. So I think this is a great opportunity to talk about that. Why yogis should consider adding some of the Age Defy elements. Even if you're a yoga teacher, you should be adding some of the Age Defy elements into your yoga teaching practice. And if you are a student like you are, you should be adding it. Do you agree with those two statements?
I 100% agree with you. A lot of the poses that we do in Age Defy, we're learning, building a foundation and building from that foundation. And as I do some different yoga poses, I think, oh, wait a minute, we shouldn't go right to this extreme. We really should have built upon this and strengthen each body part to get us to this point. So I appreciate how much body knowledge I do have. And I'm not afraid to shy away from things that I know may not be the best for my body.
Oh man, this is great. I mean, I love this. You've taken me by surprise. I'm adjusting information a little bit. I love it. I just see you so much. I didn't even know that you were able to fit in yoga. So I'm so glad you are. And I'm so glad we had this conversation. And hopefully one day we'll even take it deeper. Because for a while there, I kind of just pushed yoga aside and was like, not at all. But yet what I'm doing is taking my yoga practice and taking my pain story and making yoga accessible. And your story just proved that, really.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So if let's get back to these questions because I promised myself I would stay online.
Okay.
What is your favorite Age Defy workouts? I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but if you had to pick a favorite, what would it be?
So I thought about this question. I just can't pick a favorite. I'm so sorry, because I go to each class for different things. I take the cycle and the step classes for adding cardio to my life. I love the flow classes because it just reminds me of all the places that my body and everyone's body needs to move, and you don't realize that you need to have that movement in your life. The bar class I love too. Everything I take, each class I take something different away from it, and I can notice a difference in my body because I have a combination of so many different workouts, and I'm not just doing the same thing to my body over and over and over again. So each thing that I learn in a class, it brings me to the next class, and I'm stronger and more aware of different things. So as you always say, everything prepares us for what is coming next, and that's exactly the truth.
It's crazy because I was just thinking maybe I should ask her what her favorite saying of mine is, because I thought Donnell lives I feel like
Yeah.
that everything we do prepares you for what's coming next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Let's see here. What's our next question? Okay, what have you learned the most from your AgeDEFY experience?
I've learned so many things. Partly is how much I appreciate being able to work out from my home. I've made a studio just like so many other of the AgeDEFY members that I'm so proud of. And I can be in my home doing things and just come down and start a workout. I don't have to worry about wearing the proper clothes or driving to the gym or signing up for a class ahead of time. So that's one part of what I love about AgeDEFY is it's so accessible to me at home.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate all the body knowledge that you have given us because there are so many things that I knew, but I just didn't know. So, and having been here for a year and a half, I just cannot believe how strong my body and my mind are because you make so many strong connections between, move your body, move your mind. Movement is medicine, and everything that you say in the classes, everything that we learn in the classes, it just makes so much sense to me.
I love this so much. I feel like this podcast is more for me than the whole world at this point. So on Zoom and having a studio on Zoom, I don't know how much I am creating connections. I can't necessarily see you move. I can't see you respond to what I'm saying. I can't see you respond to how I'm moving your body. The only time I get a chance to really know that is when people decide to stay with me after class for the after class coaching and they talk about their experience. But hearing, your answers in this podcast is just like, oh, this is great. This is amazing.
I think a great part of AgeDEFY too is if you stay at the end of class, you can learn different things from people and see what people have questions about. So oftentimes I'll just stay just to listen to see how I could change something in the next class, or just to see what other people is happening in their life and their workouts and what I can learn from it.
And I love that. I see you sticking around lately after class. If you don't have a question, even if you don't respond to any of the conversations that's being said, you're taking it in. And what do I always say? You have to hear it, see it, and feel it, right? And so when we hear and you hear somebody struggling with a shape, and then you hear me give them some verbal adjustments, that just goes into your vault and it helps you in your next class too. Don't you believe that stuff that you're taking in for the coaching?
I do. And also too is so much I appreciate that you are you ingrain in your students that, do everything that you can to your ability, because we are on our own. There isn't an instructor walking around the room or adjusting our bodies or making sure that we're doing something safe. So each of us are taking on our own commitment to AgeDEFY, but also the risk of even a simple press or something that could affect your life. So I think that's important too, that you build a nice, strong foundation that people understand I need to be safe and I need to be within my own ability at this point. A month from now, you could be a little bit more advanced, but it does take time to get there.
It definitely does. And that is why I teach the way I teach. I'm not teaching just a pose or a movement. I'm teaching every little movement because I have to teach my students how to be their own coach, how to chase your own feel good, to know what to avoid and what not to avoid. And that's why I teach so deeply, right? But you like that then.
I do. Your passion for what you do is very important to me, especially because I'm in my own space doing things on my own.
I have to allow you to be your own mirror in a way. Yes, I love it. All right. So here's a question. If we were to come back and do another podcast together in 1 year, what physical goals do you hope to reach by this time next year?
Oh my goodness. Obviously I'm going to be here and I just want to maintain everything that I do have. I've done so many amazing things in my life. There is the toss up of maybe running a marathon or big goals like that. So I don't know what I hope to do. I like to live in the present, appreciate everything that I have in the present, and everything that I've built here will guide me and help me for what I choose to do next.
Well, I think this is my philosophy that I love to share with you right now, is that whatever does come your way, you'll have the courage to say yes, because you in your body ability and your body. You feel that way?
I've done so many things in the last 6 months. And not that I couldn't do them before, but when I send you a picture at the top of Steamboat Springs Mountain, I've hiked 14,000 feet. You're just so excited. Could I have done it a year ago? Sure, but as confident and maybe not. You're just so appreciative of your healthy body and the muscles that I have to help me to have gone skiing for the first time. And I just got back from parasailing and paddle boarding through the mangroves of the Florida Keys. So I just so appreciate everything that I've learned here.
Move young, live young, right?
That's right.
You're saying that you're living young. That's why we move the way we do. So you can say yes to all those adventures. I all those adventures. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So this question means a lot to me. You know that. So what does Wu Wei mean to you?
So, you teach us Wu Wei is the space between. And I think that's a hard concept for some people to understand. What do you mean the space between? And I've been in, even physically, where you're at your fullest capacity, and then maybe you have an injury or something, and you feel like you're at your lowest. And then you just kind of work back to that middle space. So where you're comfortable, where it's working for you, and where you're not in pain, or there's still room for some improvement. So to me, it's even if in life, in relationships, exercising, everywhere you are, just that space between where you're most comfortable at physically, mentally, and you have the confidence to be there.
I love that. I want to just we have one more question, but I want to ask you about your arm. Would you like to share a story about your arm? And
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please do. So when did it happen? And just tell us the whole story.
So it's one of those silly, you shouldn't have done it, but you did do it. We had rented a dumpster that was parked in the driveway as we did home improvements. So the last day of the dumpster rental being here, I thought, well, if I get on top of the dumpster and jump, I can make some more space. So I did that, and my foot got caught, and I came out of the dumpster and landed on my arm 4 feet above. And that was my impact, was landing on my left wrist. So I didn't obviously want to have to go have x-rays and things, but eventually I did do that. And it was just an infusion of the elbow. And I was told exactly 6 weeks, you'll feel much better. So instead of just deciding, well, for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to sit with my arm in 90 degrees and use my ice, that's where my AgeDEFY came in. And so I was in classes that weekend that it happened, and, my arm was strapped to my abdomen as I did everything with my other hand, keeping, my foundation strong. And then each week, even if I was using one hand to put that hand onto my, why did I lose the name of our mobility stick? Thank you. and just use the strong arm to lift that one up. And so I did lymphatic health, and I just kept all my muscles nice and strong in my body. And by the 5th week, I could take that 5-pound weight and use the other arm and get it up high. And it was exciting moments. And here I am 8 weeks, and you wouldn't think anything had ever happened.
Oh my goodness. And you just kept showing up, right?
Yeah, I just kept showing up.
And you don't have to do 100% of everything. No. And you move what you can move,
Yeah. Yep.
You couldn't move one arm, you move the other arm, and you move your legs, you use your feet, and you get your lymphatic system pumping, and it worked for you. And I'm so glad that I wanted you to tell this story. So, and then, do you feel any limitation in it now when you're doing sculpt flow or mobility flow?
No, I don't feel any limitation at all.
Woo, this stuff works. I love it.
Yeah, and that was my Wu Wei too. It was where's my middle here? How am I going to get myself back to where I was before? And so, other people have lifelong injuries that they have to think about. But I think you always say, don't touch that hurt, strengthen these muscles, strengthen your spine, strengthen your feet. And people don't realize how important that is. And once you have that strong foundation, you can do anything.
Anything, no matter what.
Yeah.
I love it. So this is my last question, and you've kind of already answered it in a way, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How do you live Age Defy and the concept of Wu Wei in everyday life?
For me, I always believe that everything happens for a reason. And to me, that's also is everything that we do prepares us for what's coming next. And if you feel strong and you look strong physically, mentally, you just carry that, an old yoga saying, but you just carry that off the mat too. And you portray that to people and you teach people that, and you hope that they even just take a little bit of what you're presenting to people. So I live Age Defy, and I try to invite people to join us because I don't think people realize exactly what they're missing until you come here, and then you realize, oh, wow.
So I actually have one more question. If someone comes new to Age Defy, how do you suggest for them to get started? What do you say someone brand new should do when day one of their membership?
I mean, I think it depends on your personality and what you're looking for, because there are so many classes that you can do that aren't live classes, and you can take your time. When we just started the step flow classes, I did all your videos, and I would press pause and teach myself each movement because I had never done any step class in my entire life. And there's a comfort level there. If you do a saved video at home, there's no audience, and you can start it and finish it or go back to it. But you can also do the live classes as well too. And that was hard for me because being on Zoom was so new to me. Being on a camera in front of people was extremely new to me too. But it's as if you don't even know that they're there. Mm-hmm. And then you can meet different people. And I think some people get nervous to be on a Zoom or in front of a camera. Well, what if I mess up? Or what if I can't lift the weights like everybody else? And that doesn't matter here. And nor should it matter in a gym either. But it doesn't matter here.
I give a lot of space to not be able to do things, right? Mm-hmm. Right? And no one can see you on Zoom. I mean, no. I know that people are moving with me. I can see their arms moving, but I cannot see them. And definitely you from at home, can you see anybody at home?
I can see this. No, I can see two other people, and maybe I'll see a few arms in the air and things like that. But
right. Okay. So live classes for someone who doesn't think Zoom classes would be comfortable for them, you're saying that they should give them a try.
100%, or else I wouldn't be here.
And I know that, and in the podcast too.
I know.
So maybe what you're saying is that maybe a month of videos would be great for someone who are not sure about the live classes and how they feel on the camera. Maybe a month of videos, like maybe a month of mobility flow videos or a month of lymphatic health videos, and then start to come to live. I mean, what would you say?
I mean, I think a lot of the online videos help you with the language, because when you say glide, I don't have to look at the screen. I know exactly what you're asking us to do. And especially in the step classes, because I was such a novice, now I can flow easily through them because I'm not constantly watching on the screen because I know the language. So for me, doing saved classes online was to help me get through the language so my movements flowed well with the rest of the class. But I mean, if someone's ready, then come on. It doesn't matter where you start, really, because we all are at different levels. So
Yeah. So basically, it's just like what I say online. Just dive in.
Yeah.
Dive in. Just whatever sounds interesting, try it and see what happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Good advice?
I think that's great advice.
Yeah. Well, Amy, we did it.
We did do it.
I think it's pretty close to 30. And love this conversation. And thank you so much for taking your time out of your day and doing this with me. And I can't wait to see you tonight.
Okay, I'll see you tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope more people join us. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy.
Okay, I'll see you tonight.